Hello world, I'm Robin Catling and this is Write On. Join me in my author journey as I delve into the craft of writing, bringing you tools, tips and lessons learned the hard way so you don't have to. Why stories need the everyman. One of the key ingredients of successful novels is the relatability of the characters. It's why stories need the everyman or everywoman. The everyman character has experiences and emotions that are like those of any ordinary person, according to Collins English Dictionary. The everyman is an explicit archetype that goes back further than the morality plays of the medieval period. It's identifiable in literature going much farther back than those. Why? Readers want to see characters they can relate to. For most readers, that's folk who are, initially at least, ordinary. Regardless of their journey and endpoint, unless we identify with them, there's no connection, and little reason to stick with their story for an entire book. All-time archetypes. Classic and popular fiction is filled with everyman archetypes. Elizabeth Lizzie Bennet is a solidly middle-class gal mixing it in high society. Harry Potter is an unsuspecting schoolboy wizard living in a cupboard under the stairs, not a million miles from Dickens' Oliver Twist. It's why Jim Hawkins, The Railway Children, The Famous Five, Becky Sharp, Jane Eyre and Miss Marple all work. Peter Parker is an ordinary high school kid, handed great power and great responsibility, as are Potter and Luke Skywalker. They ascend to hyper-competence from everyman status and, hopefully, keep us rooting for them. It's why so many fictional heroes are farm boys. Skywalker, Rand from Wheel of Time, Errigan Bromson, or perhaps they're blacksmith boys like Pip in Great Expectations. They're all humble sons of toil, farmers, tradesfolk, everyman to their core. Becky Sharp isn't all that likeable, nor is Moll Flanders, but they are deliciously scheming underdogs aiming to improve their lot. We can identify with that. Even to the extreme of Tom Ripley, where we're prepared to overlook murder. You can probably think of less controversial underdogs. Mr. Chips, Nicholas Nickleby, or Andrew Manson from The Citadel. Armed with humble backgrounds, humility, and a large cache of moral values, they buck the system in single-handed defiance. Hypercompetence diminishes relatability. Things become more difficult with characters who are hypercompetent. James Bond, Hercule Poirot, and Sherlock Holmes provide the thrill of adventure. They don't attract a lot of sympathy or empathy. In movies and TV, adaptations have to give them family traumas, tragic backstory, or in the case of Marvel's Thor, literally a god figure, a goofy comedic twist. In the current incarnation, Thor refuses his throne in a spurious attempt to demote himself to everyman. It doesn't really work. None of these are traditional everyman figures. Redemption song. Other protagonists have to go on a redemption journey. Jane Austen's spoilt rich girl Emma and Marvel's Tony Stark have it all, but make horrific mistakes and have to start over in order to make things right, much like Ebenezer Scrooge. Their fall from grace and the drive to reinvent themselves as better people brings them closer to everyman ideals. It's the execution of their character arcs that makes them interesting. Stories need the everyman to connect to as many readers as possible. The more godlike, competent or privileged the characters, the harder it is to make the readers care. We want them dragged down to our everyday level of ineptitude, embarrassment and failure, so we can watch them rise up and overcome. Applying the everyman or everywoman. So what do I have? In Book 1, I have two protagonists. Jo is an outcast, half-blood seer of no social status. broken, flawed, and variously competent, think of her as an elevated Everywoman. Vala is essentially a farm boy, the son of a retired soldier. Of low social class, but allegedly high-end competence, he is the everyman thrust into extraordinary circumstances. In writing these two, I tread a fine line between keeping them real, with relatable emotions and experiences, while making them remarkably talented to take on the challenges in the plot. This is why stories need the everyman. That's all for this time. Thanks for stopping by. You can like and subscribe to the channel, or go to robincatling.info to check out the blog.